I'm John Hughes. I wrote and directed Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
It is a beautiful day in Chicago today. Temperatures expected to reach the upper 70s. Right now, 75 at the lakefront, 74 at Midway, 73 at O'Hare. And now, up in the sky, Don Nelson
Ferris.
with Skyview traffic. Thanks,
Ferris.
We've got scores of accidents.
Tom!
This house was in Long Beach, California, which kind of disappointed me that the first shot in my movie that took place in Chicago was in Long Beach. This opening sequence and the end were both shot at the back of the schedule, which was important for the film because you met him after he'd been playing. For me, he'd been playing the part for 2 months, shooting the other sequences. So here, this first piece, he was very, very practiced in talking to the camera, and he was practiced in the character. And I wanted him to play it very, very broad. As broad as he could play it, the funnier it would be. Parents really wanted to believe that he was, that he was telling them the truth. His sister, who was one of his two nemesis, knows that he's lying, and he's a little cruel. He does taunt her a little bit. I needed to motivate her sufficiently so that to justify her obsessiveness, about catching him and putting him in his place. After the film wrapped, Mr. and Mrs. Bueller in real life got married. At the time that we were shooting this, Jennifer Grey and Matthew were dating. It was kind of a strange situation because everybody in this scene is in love. He's really wonderful in this scene. He played it as a child. Every parent has the most affectionate memories of their children are when they are children, and Ferris knew this very, very well, and played it completely. And they bought it completely, which drives his sister insane because she's always one-upped by him. She was a middle child. There were two young characters that I ended up cutting out, which put Jeanie in the position of being in the middle, which explained a lot of her aggression. The room I actually decorated a lot of it myself. It kind of looks like my room in high school. I had every square inch of my room covered with pop music record sleeves and photographs cut out of English pop magazines. And I thought that his room should really reflect his mind, which it should be filled with lots of interesting, unrelated stuff. It's an old MTV logo that I liked it because it was very noisy. I used a song by this band called Zig Zig Sputnik. It was a good song. It fit well, but at the time it was a really crass piece of pop commercialism, which I thought worked very well for the story. There's a squirrel outside his room on a telephone wire, which I thought I needed because this sequence was shot on a stage at Paramount. And to avoid it looking too false, I wanted something real. So we had two squirrels trained to run along a wire. The first one ran away, just left. He's probably still in that stage. The second one had stage fright and just clung to the wire. Everybody always thought it was a fake squirrel, but it was actually a real squirrel. He was just catatonic. The graphics on the screen. This was done in post-production. I thought that the scene was just a little flat, it was just pure exposition. So I had the shot repositioned, and I wrote these little instructions, which I thought were sufficiently stupid. We played this shower sequence as if he were, again, like a child. He does lots of things that kids do at bath time. He plays with his hair, and he sings to the microphone, and covers the camera when he washes his privates, while he talks about politics, which I thought was a good context for him to discuss, how he feels about about politics. This was also done after we'd shot the parade sequence where he sang Dankeschön. So I made a lot of little references throughout to Dankeschön. Whenever we had a chance, we used Dankeschön. This was a very good moment for him. I thought he really had. This is the essence of Ferris, and he's quoting the Beatles. This very, very obvious remark from John Lennon. And he's doing it with just the right amount of smirk, because you don't know if he really believes it or not. And I think that was sort of key to Ferris. You know, was he? You think you would know him. You've just seen him take a shower. You've been with him in the bathroom. You think you know him, but you don't really. Ben Stein was an easy and early choice for the role of the teacher. He wasn't a professional actor. That wasn't his trade. He had a flat voice. He looked like a teacher. He looked dispirited. He was a very bright guy, very, very interesting, very funny. And he was really quite brilliant at playing a dull, boring person who's talking to people who are disinterested. This is sort of a nice shot of, that's really the only shot of Ferris in school, which is, he isn't actually there. It's just his empty desk. That's really the only connection you have to him at school. And this is a nice little moment of non-communication. She doesn't care what he says. He doesn't care what she says. It's just school.
Fry.
This is a very beautiful house. This is Cameron's house. It was designed by a student of Mies van der Rohe, who was, of course, very important to Chicago architecture. That's my hand. I needed a really overly dramatic button push, and nobody on the set that day was really getting it right. So after everybody left, I did it myself. If you can notice there, his the quilt. We were shooting, and I realized that the form that quilt had taken from him laying on his back like that looked sort of like a sarcophagus. So I tucked it in further to make it look even more so, sort of this Egyptian prince. It's a very nice piece of score here. It's one piece of music that goes between the beach and the crypt. That's my hand again. A nice little piece of morning hair there, that little horn. And this is the first time I played Ferris as being somewhat superhuman. He was able to anticipate what Cameron was going to say there.
It's Cameron. He has a lot of things to sort out before he graduates. Can't be wound up.
Cameron was based in large part on a friend of mine in high school, who was kind of a sort of a lost person. His family was sort of neglected him, and so he took that as license to really pamper himself. And when he was sick, he actually felt good because he was legitimately sick. It was difficult and tiring to have to invent diseases, but when he actually had something real, he was relaxed. This is Mrs. Bueller at work, a terrible set. I never really liked this very much. This was really done to show Ed Rooney. He's a guy that deals with children all the time, and he's really not very good at dealing with adults. Then this conversation that he has with Mrs. Bueller is a little clumsy. This was a little ad-lib bit. She had a very sprayed hairdo, and I thought it would be kind of fun to stick stuff in there. I'd worked with a woman when I was young that kept her pencils in her hair. There was a lot more stuff than pencils in there, by the way. There's a little piece of dirt there. And that was really so that he was so concerned about that little speck of dirt, it helped set up what was going to happen to him later. Very pompous guy. He's the emperor of this little kingdom of children. And when he speaks to anyone from the outside or anyone near his age, he's not very good at it. I wanted to delay his appearance as long as I could. The number 9 is another Beatle reference. It's also it's a funny word. When you say 9, you have to it becomes nasal. 9. You have to say it that way. And it was a good word for him. It sounded very funny coming from him. I cast him off of Amadeus when he played the Prince. I thought, well, that character was his modern equivalent is Rooney. Took it down to 2, which was good number.
I got a computer. How's that for being born under a bad sign?
He had an interesting relationship with Grace. Here she is she doesn't drink coffee, she sniffs liquid paper. It's an interesting relationship with her. She drives him crazy, but she's the only person at the school that really kind of admires him. So he's sort of stuck with her because she does flatter him. She thinks he's smart, and she buys a lot of his stuff. This was an ad lib moment. We had a clarinet as part of set dressing, and Matthew said he could play it, which of course he couldn't. And that little line of his, which is my favorite line, it's his line. Never had one lesson. Occasionally throughout the picture, he slips into his little New York dialects, which I like very much. This is, I asked Ben, we had no dialogue for this, I just asked him to talk about economics, which we figured would probably be the worst thing to discuss, political economics to discuss with kids. And we talked about the Smoot-Hawley Act, which I thought was a really wonderful example of adults just making a terrible mess of things. These kids aren't just bored, they hate him. They resent him. They can't stand him. She looks kind of like Alex in Clockwork Orange there, and she's furious. She's going to get him at some point. He's probably bored. He's kind of a nice guy. I don't think he would be aggressive. And this is kind of a stupid joke, but I remember being awakened many times by my drool cooling. And this was good. She was able to pop the bubble without blinking. Took a while. And we used voodoo economics, which I thought was kind of a funny term at the time. And then the voodoo goes into I Dream of Jeanie with the blue tennis shoes. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but he changes clothes a lot. I wanted every time that you saw him, he was changing clothes. Because when you're home with the flu and you're sick, you really you amuse yourself in ways that you wouldn't normally. And he just changes clothes all the time. This high school is actually the Breakfast Club high school. It was the same hallway. I ran the Breakfast Club kids down this hallway. It had been an abandoned high school, so we were able to get it. These are all real kids. I wanted to use real high school kids and put the main principal cast in, who they're all in their 20s, in this world of real kids, so that there'd be a greater contrast. Because when you're a kid, what do you want to be? You want to be his age. And this is a really good example of Matthew, a 21, 22-year-old guy, talking to actual freshman boys. And I don't think I couldn't have got it in performance. You got to have the look and the vocal tone that a freshman boy has. This was a really early emulator, which Ferris being fairly technically adept for the times anyway. This is a nice little moment which speaks to youth's feelings about life and death. Ferris is dying, but she wants to know if he's going to be around on the weekend. Matthew had a good time with this. We had the actual sounds in there, so he was able to really play with it, and I think he enjoyed it very much. And she was just an extra who we gave the phone to.
Think you'll be alive this weekend?
She did a very good job.
Great, maybe I'll see ya. Bye.
This is just sort of childish showing off. Here's his best camera take here. I enjoyed developing the relationship between Rooney and his secretary, Grace. He's so serious. He takes himself so seriously. And she's just this sweet, she's one of the sweet non-professionals who works in schools who actually knows the kids, likes the kids, they like her. And he's sort of, he can't figure out why he's not liked or respected. I don't think he really cares if they like him. He wants their respect, and he doesn't get it. And he's very, I think he shows here how out of touch he is with his with the students. And she knows them all, and she has an understanding of how high school society and culture works. And a real key to Grace was she's very practical. And she takes things, at face value. He speaks in cliches. He likes cliches. And, she interprets a lot of those cliches literally, which annoys him. I mean, if you think of yourself as a very, very important person, and you have someone like Grace around, she just doesn't but annoy you.
Dirty Harry just.
And Edie McClurg, I've used her a number of times in pictures, is really wonderful at this, because a lot of this was we made it up on the spot. We made it up as we went along.
I'm serious, man. This is ridiculous, making me wait.
In this scene originally, Ferris is doing this little Modigliani on his computer, and at the same time he's wired it into a jumbotron downtown in the city. So as he's composing this mech paint picture, it's appearing downtown, which was part of a larger theme. Any sorts of signs and jumbotrons he had them all hooked up to his computer.
Ferris,
I ultimately didn't use it.
you sound terrible.
Really? Darn.
A lot of shots of Chicago in the picture. I really wanted to. It was my city, and I really wanted to show it at its best.
Cameron, it's my dad.
Oh, great.
This is sort of Ferris at the office, working all of his equipment, and he's getting his plan together. He's starting to get dressed in his final outfit. And this is kind of a nice moment of a father not really knowing how to deal with his son. He knows he should give him some sort of advice. So we sat around and tried to think of what would be the worst advice you could give someone with the flu, and we sort of came up with this idea of just putting a towel on your head. Lyman Ward is a very, very, very funny guy, really good, light comedian.
I'm so disappointed in Cameron. $20 says he's sitting in his car debating about whether or not he should go out.
I like this scene very much. It really shows Cameron's madness. And he's a passive aggressive to the extreme. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do it. He's realizes he knows he's going to end up with Ferris, and Ferris is going to do whatever Ferris wants him to do. And so the only thing he can really do is get angry, and he gets angry at his car here. I've done this a few times where you just put the pedal to the metal and let the engine suffer a bit. He's furious. He's going to go in the house now. He's had it. He's put his foot down. He puts his foot down a lot, which is really his problem. Is he puts his foot down, then backs off. And I like playing this, with the headrest in focus and him in the background having a tantrum. This is Del Close from Second City. He's wonderful. The father of improvisational comedy in Chicago, and we didn't really have anything in the script for him, so we just sort of worked it out while we were there. I wanted to use lots of cliches and lots of very corny things. Prison, putting bars through the word prison, and he had an idea to come up with a really annoying speech pattern, which is that you put the pauses in the wrong place, which is a good way to put people to sleep. There's a few sleeping there. This is also the Breakfast Club High School. And then this was the old dead grandmother ruse, which I used because it is such a common thing. My grandmother died, and I tried to find have them use the worst excuses. So you'd say, well, there's no way you could get out of that old excuse. He's going to know it, and that's exactly what they were trying to do: is get him to say that this is an excuse, so that they can set him up for the next fall.
Grandmother has just passed.
This is Mia Sara. Was really good. I needed somebody who was very pretty, very elegant, and looked as though she could tolerate and control Ferris.
I had Florence Sparrow notify Sloane.
And here's Grace, with her sympathy getting in the way.
So hard to tell these days.
I mean, she really believes it. 100 times a day kids say their grandmothers died, and every single time she grieves for them. And he doesn't buy it at all, which is exactly what Ferris wants. And he's about to step into a nice trap here.
Please hold.
Jeffrey Jones was I can't imagine anybody else playing this part.
Still want his daytime number?
Ed Rooney.
Ed, this is George Peterson.
This is Alan Ruck was doing an impression of a director that he'd worked with on the stage, And it was sort of an in-joke between Matthew and Alan, this guy's voice. I had no idea who they were talking about, or I'd never heard him speak, so it didn't mean anything to me. But I thought it was a very funny voice, and it was a good voice for a kid to use in playing an adult for a teacher.
It's all right, Grace. It's Ferris Bueller, a little twerp. I'm gonna set a trap and let him fall right into it.
And Grace she's flattered him again there. She thinks this is he's brilliant. He's figured it all out.
Old bones on over here, and I'll dig up your daughter. You know that school policy.
I like that they're both conspiring. She's participating in this thing now. I think that's kind of funny.
Ed Rooney's office.
Hi, this is Ferris Bueller. Can I speak to Mr. Rooney, please? Thank you.
Tell you what, dipshit.
This was we were trying to think of words that he didn't really use in his normal vocabulary, like dipshit and white butt and pucker up buttercup, were not things that he would normally say. He sort of heard them in the halls. And we just held this close up for a long, long time, as long as he could go without blinking. And then he really just plays it all with his eyes.
And I was wondering if it might be possible for my sister to bring home any assignments for my classes that I might need. Have a nice day.
And I added these bells on the telephone, which was stupid, but I thought it was kind of funny.
Mr. Peterson?
I had her hold that expression for a long time.
I owe you an apology, sir.
Well, I should say you do.
I
Well, I think you should be sorry, for Christ's sake.
Sort of nice to see Cameron asserting himself here. But he can only do it in the guise of someone else.
I really don't know, sir. I mean, I didn't think I was talking to you. I thought
He looks very boyish here.
I would never.
And that little twist, that little thing, little twisting motion was his idea.
How embarrassed I am.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole. Asshole.
That really felt good for him to say that to this guy. But of course, only in the guise of someone else.
You read me.
Loud and clear, Mr. Peterson.
Call me sir, God damn it.
Yes.
Well, Cameron will go too far. Now he's getting really confident here, so he'll go too far.
P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Bueller. Ferris Bueller.
I like James Bond movies, especially when I was in high school.
Possible. You're doing great.
Yeah?
She's in. Wait.
This was great, running these two people in and out
Rooney?
of that room. Now she's doing Rooney.
Rooney, calm down.
Just a moment.
Just a little office difficulty, sir.
Rooney, I don't have all day to bark at you, so I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I want my daughter out in front of the school in 10 minutes by herself.
Now he's gone too far here. There's a great face. Here's Pagliacci. We thought, that sort of operatic clown look. A very, very rubbery face. He can make wonderful facial expressions.
I want you out in front of the school with her.
Now, in fixing it, he's made it worse now.
On second thought, we don't have time to talk right now. We'll get together soon and we'll have lunch. Ow! What the hell is wrong with you?
Wait.
Where's your brain?
Why'd you kick
Where's
me?
your brain?
This sequence really shows how these guys had worked together on Broadway for quite a while, and they had some wonderful routines that they did together. And I think this is a perfect example of two actors who are really in sync with one another. I really enjoyed working with Matthew, who had so much stage experience. So he wasn't being Ferris; he was playing Ferris, and his performance is a performance. It wasn't supposed to be real. It was he's playing an ideal, and I think his stage experience really helped. And the fact that these guys had worked, day in and day out on Broadway, really made this scene work. It's the first time Cameron really stands up to Ferris seriously, and it's that Ferris hit him, and embarrassed him. He's really embarrassed. I gave him a Detroit Red Wings jersey to wear, because that's where I grew up, and Gordie Howe, number 9, was my hero. And I thought hockey was just not a sport that Cameron would be interested in. It was a nice little ad-lib moment. So I had him running down the hall, and I thought this kind of guy would not want anybody to see him panicking and running, so he stops in front of every door. Now Ferris has hit him, embarrassed him, and now he's drawing him back in and making him pay for his mistake, which is very important to the plan. He's got to get Cameron to make a mistake so that he can get the car. So Cameron has to pay for his getting too confident with Rooney, and this is the price he's got to pay.
The 1961 Ferrari 250 GT, California.
This yellow song, I'd had it in mind to use for a couple of years, but I didn't really find the right spot for it until here. The insert shots of the Ferrari were real 250 GT California. The cars we used in the wide shots were obviously reproductions, because there were only 100 of these cars. Way too expensive to destroy. So we had a number of replicas made. They were pretty good replicas, but for the tight shots, I really needed a real one. So we brought one into the stage and shot the inserts with that.
Wow, Ferris? He never drives it. He just rubs it with a diaper.
That little thing with his finger where he runs it along the car, that was a squeak with a woman's voice underneath it.
It was a little piece of plastic. This is a Ferrari.
Que bella. Cameron, I'm sorry, but we can't pick up...
Now this is Ferris really working hard on Cameron here. He really wants to drive this car. This car was made for him. And Matthew played this as if it were his first date. I mean, the car really had become a woman to him. You've probably seen it many, many times going over to Cameron's house, and always wanted to take it out.
The mileage, Ferris.
He doesn't trust you?
Never has, never will.
Look, this is real simple. Whatever miles we put on, we'll take off.
How?
We'll drive home backwards.
No. No! Ferris, forget it. You're just gonna have to think of something else.
I think Cameron really wanted him to take it.
How about we run a nice Cadillac? My treat!
He's offering him alternatives here. This was just Alan ad-libbing, which I thought was quite nice.
Stretch job with a TV and a bar! How about that? Come on, love a little.
Crosses himself. This is my old high school, actually. I had Jeffrey play this as if he was a funeral director. And we hear Ben continuing his economics lecture. Could be the same class. This is just platitudes. I mean, we're just looking for these horrible, cliches to say to someone who suffered a loss, and she's aloof. He's trying very hard to be sincere here.
I'll take grief.
Great.
Oh, Sloane, dear. Hurry along now.
I guess that's my dad.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
I like that she was able to play this with such confidence. I mean, she owns him at this point, and I think she made it quite obvious. He stood always as if he were the funeral director. A little tilt on him, tilt a little bit. And then they decided, now she's safe. She's far enough away that they've escaped, and they thought they'd just throw a huge kiss on one another here. She lifted her leg, like in the old movies. Matthew was very good at, I think it comes from his stage experience, at entering and exiting frames, and I took advantage of that whenever I could. He had a wonderful body language.
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Don't say we're not going to take the car home. Please don't say we're not going to take the car home. Please don't say.
If you had access to a car like this, would you take it back right away? Neither would I.
The song was by the Flower Pot Men. I'd gotten, I was listening to as much obscure English music as I could, and I thought this was a pretty good song. And it was called Beat City, and it had to do with cities and good guitar sound, and I thought it fit well. And it was obscure enough to use. I never wanted to use music that you had heard, unless you were listening to that kind of music. I didn't want to use top 40 stuff. And this was nothing but how pretty Chicago is, and the architecture of the city. We just took a helicopter up the Chicago River. This was the first chance I'd really had making a movie to get outside, and up to this point the pictures had been pretty small. This was a chance to really use helicopters and a slightly longer schedule and do some of the things that I wanted to do that I couldn't, either because of the story or because the budget's before. And one of the things was I really wanted to capture as much of Chicago as I could, not just in the architecture and the landscape, but the spirit. These are all high school kids. And then to put her as she's 22 here, I think, in this context makes school all the more awful. Although it's very flat delivery.
Peterson home on line 1. And watch your mouth this time.
Go suck your head.
We can't come to the phone right now.
I made great use of answering machines in this movie.
Grace?
It would be different today, I guess. It would be voicemail, right? Or emails or something. There's that hairdo, scratching your head with the pencil, which is this woman that I worked with who kept the pencils in her hair also, because you can't really. Those hairdos are so hard, you got to use a pencil to scratch your head.
Okay.
I did not achieve this position in life by having some snot-nosed punk leave my cheese out in the wind.
That was just a completely nonsensical line. We made it up on the spot. I wanted him to just say something profound that meant nothing. So we thought leaving your cheese out in the wind would suffice.
Something's going on, God damn it. I'm going to find out what it is. I'm going to catch this kid.
She loves when he's tough.
A dent in his future. 15 years from now, when he looks back on the ruin his life's become, he is going to remember Edward Rooney.
He's going to go across the line soon, for which he'll have to pay a price. I don't know why I used the beret. If it were today, I don't think I would. I like Cameron's hat. I didn't care for this one too much.
Wrong.
I met Richard Edson, who plays the parking lot attendant, and I was just fascinated by him because every reading he did was completely different, and they were all really on the edge of collapse. I think halfway through the reading, I thought he wasn't going to get through it. and he always did. And I thought that there was something very nice and natural about it. He certainly looked the part, but he had also this incredibly suspicious look about him. Just not the kind of person that you would want to give a $200,000 car to.
What country do you think this is?
He's got a very, very interesting style.
Care of this vehicle. Okay.
Hey, no problem.
Great.
Trust me. Sir.
Come on. Come.
But Cameron is entirely too polite to say no here, which is part of his problem. He's always doing what he doesn't want to do.
Relax.
This guy immediately senses that he's weak and just takes full advantage of him.
You fellas have nothing to worry about. I'm a professional.
Professional what?
Yeah, that last lingering touch on the car.
See what a Finsky can do to a guy's attitude? Cameron, come on. Come on. Come on.
I deliberately brought the mother home just to make it a little bit more difficult for Ferris, because really the game should be over now. I mean, if she's going to come home and go check his bedroom, you should think that it's over. We play this very arch music. And this is the trophy thing that he was doing early in the picture, tying the string to it was all connected to this. I like that there was a Union Jack in all these close-ups of the door. And around the door there, I made those little video printouts of Jailhouse Rock. I used it as wallpaper. I had one of those video printers. I thought it would be kind of interesting wallpaper. That wasn't Jailhouse Rock. It was, I think it was his appearance on Ed Sullivan, I think, or Steve Allen. I don't think I needed this a little bit. Let's just explain it a little too much.
Ferris, you think the car's all right?
Sure. This is the world's tallest building.
Ferris, I don't feel too good. Can we leave soon?
This was, we improvised this, basically. This was just sort of going to be a day of sightseeing. The guys on the right with the hats just showed up. They were not, we didn't bring them there. They were actually there. They were from Germany. They were participating in the German Day Parade, which we shot later. This, I was always terrified when I was a kid of leaning against glass in high buildings, so I always thought it would break. This is kind of a nice shot because you get to see them upside down and right side up. This shot, this second unit shot, the guy actually got sick making this because they had to hold him over the side. And we used the actual sound of their heads hitting the glass, which is kind of scary. I don't think you're allowed to do that. This was the commodities market. And this was something that just came up the day. Alan was watching all his hand signals and added this little piece. And this scene was really there just to hit Cameron's family situation, which would be important later. I think I might have hit it a little too hard, it's a little too obvious. I I'd rather have done it differently. And then Alan had that nice little dripping sound effect that he made. And I like this. This moment between Matthew and Mia, where he has sort of get married, and she sort of catches him on what he's doing there. You know, he doesn't actually want to get married. He's just kind of provoking her. A lot of that was Cameron's self-indulgence. You know, he's now playing the I'm from a home with problems, which, like I said, this friend of mine that I based the character on did that sort of thing. It was always, you know, he would always play for sympathy because he got no natural sympathy, so he was always trying to elicit it somehow. This guy was very good. He was a comedian out in Los Angeles. I liked him very much. He did a pretty good job of playing the snooty maitre d'.
Is there a problem?
You're Abe Froman.
That's right. I'm Abe Froman.
The sausage king of Chicago.
Yeah, that's me.
Listen, young man. Entre nous, I'm very busy here. Why don't you take the kids and go back to the clubhouse?
That was Jonathan's line about going back to the clubhouse, which I thought was kind of funny. Playing them very much as children.
Or I have to get snooty.
Snooty?
Snotty.
Snotty?
Okay, Abe. Let's go.
No, I'm not going anywhere. No, we like to be seated.
Listen, young man.
This is sort of, you know, it hasn't worked for him, so he's getting a little aggressive now. It's a little bit different than any of his other reactions. His tricks usually go pretty well. This one wasn't going well, so he's getting a little aggressive. He can't lose. I mean, if he did lose, he wouldn't be Ferris Bueller. When I was done with this, I had absolutely no more telephone tricks left.
I have enough of this horsing around. Give me the phone back.
You touch me, I yell rat. There's another phone around here somewhere. Find it.
Wonderful. I weep for the future.
We did a little thing with him where wherever he turned, when he turned, he always turned the wrong way. You know, when he walks up at the beginning of the podium, he turns the wrong way. It's not the way you would turn. He turns the longer way. And just then in the hallway, he did the same thing. There was a scene, I cut part of this scene. At the end, they were ordering, and it was in French. And rather than admit that they'd made a mistake ordering, they went ahead and ate it, and it was sweetbreads, which turned out to be pancreas, which is what sweetbreads are. And Cameron had to eat it. He discovered what it was while he was eating it. Just didn't make him feel too good. There's a reference to it later when they're in the traffic jam in the taxi cab. Cameron doesn't think he's done anything good that day. He mentions that he ate pancreas, which is reference to the scene that was cut. This was a restaurant in Los Angeles, which we took over for the day.
It's understanding that makes it possible for people like us to tolerate a person.
Very pretentious kind of interior. Huge floral arrangements.
Thank you. Don't mention it.
Enjoy your lunch.
Darling, you were wonderful.
And here, this was them playing adults. And when we shot this, he thought he would do it as a kid at a restaurant, pretending that he's an adult. You know, pretending that his water is wine. And I mean, there were these references that we made often to childhood. I mean, Matthew played a lot of this as a child. There's a really terrible, shaky, bouncy shot. It's not very good. It was on one of those big old Western dollies. We didn't have much time to do it, so the only thing you can say for it is that it's in focus.
What makes him so goddamn special? Screw him.
I used to think that my family was the only one that had weirdness in it. That used to worry me. Then I saw how Cameron's family functioned. His home life is really twisted. That's why he's sick all
This was originally intercut with Cameron and eating his pancreas. Not his pancreas, the pancreas he was served. There he is.
museum. It's very beautiful and very cold, and you're not allowed to touch anything. Can you appreciate...
So he was eating it heartily, and then discovered what it was and had a huge mouthful of it and didn't know what to do with it.
I'm actually amazed that I got the car.
So I took those moments and used them to intercut with this restroom scene. But what he was doing just then was after he had discovered he'd eaten it and was trying to cleanse his palate.
I love driving it. It is so choice. If you have the means...
This whole long bit here is really just to support this little joke coming up here that his father's at the same restaurant. Don't know if it was worth it.
Well, hello, Jeanie. Who's bothering you now?
Is Mr. Rooney in?
No, I'm sorry. He's not. Can I help
Jeanie and Grace didn't get along too well. You know, this is she's a lot like Rooney. No, the difference is Rooney's an egoist and she's insecure. But they're both obsessive and they're both aggressive, and they both tend to blame other people for their problems.
Probably.
What a little asshole.
Dave, you got to consider raising your advertising budget.
We don't have the money.
Dave.
This is an homage to my old advertising days, having gone to many of those kind of lunches where you have to talk somebody into doing something that they don't want to do. It's a very stylized thing here. They put their sunglasses on. They make these very deliberate exit. They're sort of like those old war movies. I've got to sneak past the Nazi guards.
I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse in this one, but I'm telling you that that's not the case. We don't have the money.
Didn't have very much time to do this. It was threatening to rain, so I only had a couple of takes. I didn't really get it perfect. I wanted this cab, the cab that replaces it, isn't really stopped when he turns.
We know he's got the money. We know he's got the money. We just have to spend it. That's all, you bonehead.
A nice little piece of score here. Now Ed has gone too far. He's left school. He's made it personal now. This isn't a school matter anymore. This is a personal issue. And we found these ridiculous glasses that flipped up. I don't know why, but we made a little bit out of it to score the flip up and down of the glasses. This is all of the thrillers and mysteries and spy movies that he watched coming back on this little pizza place in Brentwood that we used to go to with our kids, which is no longer there. This is Rooney in the real world, and it shows how poorly he fits. Jeffrey asked me. He thought it would be a good idea if Rooney spoke a little French, and he had this line: "The game is up."
Les jeux sont faits. Translation: the game is up.
Because to Rooney, this is very important. This is a real war for him. This isn't just being late for school. This is, he's Moriarty, and he's got Holmes where he wants him. Of course, it's not Holmes. And she doesn't go to school, so he has no power over her, so she's free to spit in his face. This scene was really about what an awkward person he was, and how outside of school he really was nothing. Inside of school he was a man of distinction and deserving of respect, but outside he's really very clumsy and awkward and ill-equipped. He doesn't really know about sports here. He thinks he should make conversation with this guy here, who was actually this guy was Porky on the original Lassie television program, which I watched when I was a kid, so it was kind of a big moment for me. But he knows nothing about sports. But he thinks when he's with a working man, he should talk about that. He also, we when he threw the napkin, we had him do it so that it did not look at all manly, even though he was trying to be manly. Never was a Cub fan, never will be, but Chicago White Sox weren't playing day games. So I had to shoot at Wrigley Field, which is a very nice ballpark, but wrong team. This is one of those references to the Jumbotrons, and that as word of Ferris's illness spread around the city.
I hate him.
Ferris had gone to radio station and talked about how he was going to be the first American teenager to go up in the space shuttle, which I had to lose. The trailer for the film actually went out with some of that material and had to be recalled because the day before the trailer was to play, which would be Friday night, this terrible thing happened with the shuttle. So Paramount had to pull all those prints. Then I had to go and recut, remix the picture. The address on this house was my address when I was a kid. This is actually, the house is in Long Beach, which kind of bothered me because there's some eucalyptus trees. But I was looking for something that had some deciduous trees. It would look somewhat like the Midwest. This is a nice little moment for Jeffrey, where he's playing to a recording. Because he's come to the house as a school administrator on official business. He's coming to confirm the illness of a frequently absent student. So he's within his rights here. But he's soon to exceed his rights.
You're in big trouble, Buster. Get down here.
On the refrigerator there is a portrait of me done by my son, who was 6 at the time. One of my more favorite pieces of art. He supplied a lot of my refrigerator art.
Who is it?
You know goddamn well who it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't come to the door right now. I'm afraid that in my weakened condition, I could take a nasty spell.
I think I could have made him actually a little slower to learn that this was a trick.
You can reach my parents at their places of business.
Now he has to decide if he's going to go a little further with this. I think he thinks that he's got some license because he was duped at the door. I think he feels now that he's justified in looking in the windows, but still a little nervous about it. I wanted to play this from inside the house looking out. Very nice little fall there. He was such a wonderful character because he was so pompous and so arrogant and so thought of himself as being so dignified. To take him and run him through all of this, these pratfalls was a lot of fun. And he was a very, very good sport about it. This was stepping into the soft earth or the mud, and then when you pull your foot out, this happened to me all the time. When you get your boot stuck in something, you pull it out, and then you end up standing in the mud in your socks. And then he turns we sort of made this up as we went along. I wanted to take him around the house. I needed to get him from the front door to the back door, and I thought of every obstacle I could possibly get put in his way to get to that back door. Because this is really about his decline now. And he's got to chase the hose around. And we just, we let these things happen naturally, and Jeffrey did a wonderful job of just reacting to them. I thought, just increase the pressure on that hose so it'll be hard for him to grab it. And then he actually split his pants here. He really enjoyed this. And this was a post-production thing. Watching this car go over sort of looked like Star Wars, so we thought, here lies a very cheap joke. I don't know what we would have done if we hadn't gotten the rights, because I don't think there's a song that would have made this moment work. But I just wanted to show this sort of unbridled joy of these two guys out in this beautiful car. You know, this car is very seductive. You know, it seduced Ferris, it seduced these two guys. And then we're back to Ed getting dressed, trying to get himself put back together. And now he's seen the doggy door. I sort of like the idea of a school official, very important person in school, considering climbing through a doggy door in pursuit of a student, which I thought was pretty good. Not knowing, of course, that they have a dog. We've heard the dog bark a number of times. We haven't seen it until now. This was very nice. This is Rooney and the animal kingdom, and he's just as inept in the animal kingdom as he is. He really is. You know, this proves once again he's really only good in his office at the school, and Grace is really the only living thing that has any respect for him. He played this very well, I thought. Now this got a little dangerous here because this dog, by the time we got to shooting him, was really pissed off. So and Jeffrey had to get the trainer between him and the dog very quickly. It was fairly close. This is a very, very self-indulgent scene of mine. This is Chicago Art Institute, which when I was in high school was a place of refuge for me. I went there quite a bit. I loved it. I knew all the paintings. I knew the building. And this was a chance for me to go back into this building and show the paintings that were my favorite. Kandinsky. There's Picasso, which is one of my favorites. There's Giacometti on the right. The old guitarist. There's Balthus on the left. This I thought was very relevant to Cameron. You know, the tenderness of a mother and a child, which he didn't have. There's Matisse. The museum hadn't been shot in until we approached them. This is a nice little moment here. These were all little improv things that we did on the spot. These three Picassos were always my favorite, to put each of them in front of them. And then this picture, which I always thought this painting was sort of like making a movie, you know, the pointillist style, which you're very, very close to it. You don't have any idea what you've made until you step back from it. I used it in this context to see, he's looking at that little girl, which again is, you know, a mother and a child. The closer he looks at the child, the less he sees, of course, with this style of painting, or any style of painting really. But the more he looks at it, there's nothing there. And I think he fears that the more you look at him, the less you see. There isn't anything there. That's him. And then this was a real parade. This was a German Day parade. There's quite a bit of German references in the picture because the town I grew up in had a lot of the original citizens were Germans. There was a lot of German street names. A lot of Germans in Chicago. There I go in the back with my 80s haircut. Now, Bueller was a German name. Garth Volbeck was a German name. I used a number of those references, and then it just happened that this parade was a German Day parade, and it was an actual parade which we put our float into, unbeknownst to really anybody, all the people on the reviewing stand. Nobody knew what it was, including, I believe, the governor was there. He didn't know what we were doing. This is a nice little scene where he actually pulls up next to his father, and this is Cameron whining and complaining. You know, Cameron's always looking for a parent. You know, he's like a petulant child in search of a parent, and Ferris really, I guess, is his father figure and his friend. He's running down all the things that he's done for him here. Now this is this great rubbery face that he has. This is monkey face now. He's doing a primate face.
Over there.
He looks directly at his father. And I had to do this all in one. So I had Matthew sitting there, and as soon as I got off of him, Matthew had to jump in the footwell, and she had to sit up. I gave him in wardrobe. I gave him a rabbit's foot, which I thought would be kind of a nice just a little touch. And then those two guys, while they were down in the footwell, came up with this little bit of rubbing the rabbit's foot. It's kind of an icky moment, isn't it? he gave her a very good goosing here. This was all really natural. And then, of course, he's made it into the paper. I saw this hole in the door while we were on this location, and I just thought his eyeball in that hole would be pretty funny. There's something about shoes. I don't know what it is about shoes, but I just think I've done a lot of shoe jokes. And to have his teachers always had odd shoes, you know, and I just thought to have his shoe chewed up by the dog would be kind of the final humiliation. Like I said, this was a real parade. We shot over 2 days. The first Saturday was the real parade. The second Saturday we did pickup shots.
You know, he went back to school.
He would not go back to school.
Yeah, he'd do it. He'd just do it just to make me sweat.
Cameron, come on.
Makes me mad.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're such a wonderful crowd. We'd like to play a little tune for you. It's one of my personal favorites. And I'd like to dedicate it to a young man who doesn't think he's seen anything good today. Cameron Fry, this one's for you.
And Matthew lip-synced this song. I remember that this was the most awful song when I was growing up. And every time it came on, I just wanted to scream. I wanted to claw my face. And since it was German, and I was taking German in high school, which meant that we listened to it in school, I couldn't get away from it. It just kept appearing. And we had I can't remember how many cameras we had. We had positions up in the buildings, and we had people on the street. We probably had 5 or 6 cameras. The woman playing the accordion really didn't realize that we were doing a comedy. I think she thought it was a tribute to Germany or something. This was shot on the second day. Those are extras in the background. It's a nice little walk and talk with Cameron and me and Sara, which, you know, this is a little bit about their relationship. I think Cameron probably was secretly just desperately in love with her. And she's sort of a sister, you know. My wife, who used to be my high school girlfriend, there was always 3. It was me, my wife, and one of my friends, one of my troubled buddies.
Me neither.
That's a Calder statue behind him. Matthew got into this pretty good. And then we went to Twist and Shout, and what happened for real was that people from all over the immediate area showed up and were singing along, and we got thousands of people. That guy, for example, I noticed he was up dancing on a construction site, and I told the second unit guy to grab it. The people, they run all the way down as far as you can see. And it was at the end of the shot, we had this crane, and as the crane came up, we realized, oh my God, we've got thousands and thousands of people. They were coming from all over the immediate area, and thought it was a real parade, thought it was a real event. And then we used lots of local talent. This was a dance group that we used. We held open auditions for people that did interesting things or unusual things, like him. That's my prop man. These were triplet lawyers. And that's a Chagall mosaic. I try to show as much of the city, the monumental art as possible. That guy up on the window cleaner was one of our people. And this is really nice. These were just real people singing along to this song. It's very nice. It was a really wonderful day. This is in Los Angeles, shot quite some time later. Paul McCartney had mentioned in an interview that he didn't like the horns on this, and that if they'd wanted horns on it, they bloody well would have put horns on it. And I felt really bad because I had offended a Beatle. But if I hadn't, it wasn't really part of the song. It was that we saw a band and we needed to hear the instruments. It was that they were playing along with it. So I'm sorry I offended him, but it actually charted. It put this song went back on the charts. It was the first time in years that a Beatles song had been on the Billboard charts. I think Matthew got really invigorated by the crowd here, I think. That little thing where he fell back, he missed his cue and almost fell. This is Louis Anderson. I don't think Louis ever forgiven me for this. That was his role. I had to cut it out. So now Rooney is accepting gifts at the he's accepting deliveries at the Bueller house. That was just a little ad-lib. I wanted to have something. And I thought the shaving a haircut thing was kind of nice. This was in the town I grew up in. We, I don't know how they let us do this, but they let us paint this on their water tower. I was there for a while. A lot of people remember this. If you go to this town, ask them if there was ever anything painted on their water tower, they'll tell you that it was the Ferris. This, of course, no animals were hurt. It's hard to get them to lay down like that, though. She discovers what she already knew. I sort of enjoyed taking the two pursuers and they miss the prey, but attack each other, which I thought was kind of fun to do.
This is her daughter.
And Jeannie's she's just awful to everybody.
Well, do you know where
If you don't give her what she wants or say what she wants you to say, she mistreats you. Now he's really crossed the line now because now he's in the house. And of course she thinks it's Ferris come home, so it's a little cat and mouse game here. This was all in a house, in that same house in Long Beach. A little tight. But the floor plan worked really well for the picture. There's a little fly here. So we saw the fly, had a fly sound. It was quite nice. It was an accident, but I thought it was kind of nice in his condition to have a fly chasing him around. Sped that up just a little bit. She couldn't run fast enough, so we had to speed the film up a bit.
You're psychotic.
This was a nice shot. We originally shot Super 35, so it was widescreen. I was able to do all this in one without any scanning. But in television versions, it had to be recomposed.
Who the hell am I? Besides, anybody who would nail me wouldn't go to a parade.
My mother would.
I'm not worried about your mother. She's vacated.
That was so quick.
Hey. This looks okay to me, Cameron.
The license on this was nervous. I milked those license plate jokes pretty hard in the 80s. I like to detail things as much as I could. This we could use this garage, but we couldn't use their name, so we made it Easy OK Park. No, A1 Easy OK Park. That's what it was.
Yeah, man, we're going to do this again.
Look, this is not a phony phone call. There is an intruder, male, Caucasian, possibly armed, certainly weird, in my kitchen. My name's Bueller. Look, it's real nice that you hope my brother's feeling better, but I'm in danger, okay?
She did this very well. It's hard to play one-sided telephone calls. I thought she did a really good job of making it appear as if she's actually talking to somebody. I think she's probably talking to me. I usually did the other side of telephone conversations. And this is Charlie Sheen's character. His family, with the Volbecks, there was a little bit more to do with them, but I had to lose that with that space shuttle stuff. His father owned the tow company.
Still in the house, I'd like you to know that I've just called the police. So if you have any brains whatsoever, you'll get your ass out of my house real quick. I'd also like to
The tissue in the nose was kind of a cheap joke, but it was so funny. Yeah, I thought he would have by now developed a hole in his pocket, so it was necessary for him to leave some sort of evidence that he was in the house behind. I thought it made sense to have it be his wallet. This is a really very sad, pathetic shot here. This reminded me very much of like an old 30s, Little Rascal or something. The end of one of them, the guy running down the road chasing the car. That's a very pretty shot down Michigan Avenue.
I was a little worried about that. Turned out good.
Cameron is very, very relaxed here because he's got the car back. He's had the adventure. Everything seems to be going fine. And Matthew's beginning to notice that there's a problem here. And Cameron, of course, remembers exactly how many miles. It's a nice little camera take. We had a really hard time doing this. It was very, very bright, and it was actually painful for him to keep his eyes open. This took a while. This is really just another attempt on his part to get some attention.
Who is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't come to the door right now. I'm afraid that in my weakened condition, I could take a nasty spill down the stairs and subject myself to further...
God bless the police. I'm saved. Oh, thank you.
Here we get a little hint of her religious convictions. It's Louis again.
Help restore your pluck, 'cause I'm the nurse who likes to...
This was very early in the shooting. This scene was supposed to be done down at the beach, but as you can see, the surf was pretty bad. There's a little dock that we were supposed to pier that we were supposed to shoot on, but it's underwater. So we had to we had to redo it, bring it up to this bluff. It was not a very good day. It was very, very windy. Matthew, this was very early in. He was a little uncomfortable talking to camera. The problem was he would see his reflection when he did camera take. He was basically acting to himself. It was like working in a mirror, which was distracting. It was difficult to do. We were both sort of feeling our way through this technique. And I was discovering as we were doing it that once he looked to camera, he had to stay with it. He couldn't look away because when he looks at the camera, he creates sort of the illusion. When he looks away, he breaks the illusion. And to make it and break it continuously was really distracting. Here he had to stare right up into the sky, which was extremely hard to do. I didn't want him to blink. She's very, very tender with him here, and I think he's really enjoying her attention. But I think Matthew's discomfort with this scene and my discomfort with this scene, I think, worked ultimately. This actually happened to a friend of mine. The story's about a guy I know.
Respect him, because you can't respect somebody who kisses your ass. Just doesn't work.
Ferris, we better try something else. This isn't working.
You can see him wincing a little bit there, because he's looking right up into the sun.
You feeling any better, Cameron?
And this is sort of Ferris's therapy, which is to help Cameron, but also do it somewhere where he can relax himself.
Cameron, I could flip out real easy too. It's okay. Sooner or later, everybody goes to the zoo.
What we sort of did with the scene was we never identified where this was or whose house this was. I always presumed it was just someone else's house. So it wasn't really Sloane's house. It certainly wasn't Matthew's house, and it wasn't Cameron's house. I thought they just sort of stopped and used somebody's jacuzzi. It's really clear here that he's by looking up there. I think he indicates that this is he's doing this deliberately. This again, I think, is an example of these two guys having worked together a lot, really playing it well.
Hey, Cameron! Cameron, wake up! Oh, wake up! Hey, wake up! Oh, shit, Cameron, come on! Cameron! Come on, wake up! Hey! What is that?
Ferris Bueller, you're my hero.
You're
I
kidding?
see some. He gets genuinely angry here. He really does not like being one-upped. Ferris is not really a nice guy. He's an interesting guy. He's an interesting person. He's not necessarily virtuous. This was maybe the best day I had making this picture. I really enjoyed shooting this scene. I worked with Charlie's brother on Breakfast Club, and that was very similar. Felt very much like working with Emilio. He was very good in this scene. He played it very, very subtle, very flat. He looked great. And it's Jeanie with someone that she just would never, in any other circumstance, even look at. And she's getting advice from him, and he's right. Everything he's saying to her is absolutely right.
Thumb up your butt.
You wear too much eye makeup.
We made him up to look slightly sickly. He didn't want a lot of color in his face.
You don't want to talk about your problem.
With you, are you serious?
There's a wonderful vocal quality in this.
Blow yourself.
And they really worked together well. There was no rehearsal on them. He was, he's hired for the day, came in just for the day, so I think they really didn't have much time to work on this.
I hate my brother. How's that?
That's cool.
But I think they might have worked together before. There was just a really nice automatic with them.
See, I went home to confirm that the shithead was ditching school, and when I was there, a guy broke into the house. I called the cops, and they picked me up for making a phony phone call.
What do you care if your brother ditches school?
Part of Ferris' character that he dealt with everybody pretty much equally. So he can be as close with this guy as he can with Cameron or anyone else. He had his friends were from everywhere in that high school social strata. He was from the top to the bottom.
Excuse me?
Excuse you. You ought to spend a little more time dealing with yourself, a little less time worrying about what your brother does.
It's very painful to get advice with someone who you think is below you. And for Jeanie, most people are below her. She's really very rude to him. It doesn't bother him at all.
Somebody you should talk to.
If you say Ferris Bueller, you lose a testicle.
Oh, you know him.
This doesn't work It would be a wonderful thing if it did. It would have saved, certainly when I was young, it would have saved a lot of my friends. But running the car in reverse doesn't work. By the time we were shooting this sequence, it was I think it was nearly October, or was October. So we were, it was into fall leaf color. So every day before we started shooting, we had to paint all these leaves green, and we had to be very careful we didn't knock them off. This is a nice little moment. This is, I think this says a lot about high school friendship. It's so painful when he says, what are we going to do next year? These three people have, they've got a really close relationship. And I think that it appears as though there's a certain maturity to these three relationships. I mean, Cameron mentions that they've known each other since 5th grade, and so I'm sure that she knew that when she when she started dating Ferris, that she was going to get Cameron too. It's a very nice little moment there from Alan, where he has to admit in expression that he watched her undress. This we got this house, which was actually a place where a guy kept his cars. It was built over a ravine in Highland Park, Illinois, and the fear with the building in breaking one of the window panes, as we would have to do, was that it would affect the structural integrity of the building, and that all the windows might break. And these windows had aged, so that there was a tinting. There would be a new piece of glass would be obvious. So we had to remove all of the glass and replace all of that glass with new glass, so that when we were done, we could put the original glass back, not break the original glass, because it had achieved a patina over time. So it was complicated negotiations getting this building, but it was really important. I mean, it's very, very unusual to find a steel and glass Miesian building in the woods over a ravine. I mean, it was an absolutely perfect location. And fortunately, Ned Tannen knew the guy that owned the house, because Ned was a Ferrari collector, so they had something in common, and we didn't have any problems. This Cameron realizing that he has to stand for something, that he can't continue to be pushed around. That was quite a good dramatic moment. And he's a very volatile character. He's got a lot of anger. He's got a lot of frustration. He doesn't speak his mind, and then he whips himself for not doing what he wants to do. It builds up a lot of aggression in him. And the cars really come to symbolize his alienation from his father. And he sees his father's care that he takes with his car, not with his son. And that decision to kick the car, I mean, this is life-changing for him.
I'm so sick of his shit. Can't stand him.
And you really see you see not only how frustrated and angry he is, but how strong he is in a way. I mean, he's really he knows now he's gone too far, and that he can't turn back from this. That this will define his relationship with his father for the rest of his life. And it's really temper. I mean, he's lost his temper. We saw him lose his temper earlier with his own car, and now he's taken this extremely valuable car and vented all of his anger on it. Now he's feeling a little guilty about it. Now he's realizing what he's done and how much it's gonna hurt. But he's still, he's willing to take it. I mean, this is what he did. He's not backing off. He has actually, I guess, taken a stand.
He'll come home. He'll see what I did. He'll have to deal with me.
Now this is the only thing that Ferris hasn't anticipated. Everything else he has anticipated. He probably thought that Cameron would get caught taking the car out, and that he would deal with it as he should have to deal with it. It is something he needs to confront. But I don't think he realizes he would go. He didn't realize he would go this far.
I can't wait to see the look on the bastard's face.
And now he The car went out the window. We were hoping that it would clear the building. What we were afraid of is it would break the glass. The impact would slow the car and it would sort of tilt and fall out. But it really actually shot out of the building and flew over the mark that we were expecting, that we had hoped for. It flew way beyond that, and fortunately hit a fence, which kept it from going off of this property onto another property. And the town made us protect the ravine, so every little seedling had to be protected. We had to put down burlap, cut little holes to put all the little seedlings and trees coming up through it so that we could get all the glass out of the ravine. And we did not leave a single piece of glass in there. It was left exactly as we found it. It was kind of a scary shot dollying up to this hole. But again, this was all composed for widescreen. And that was the car as it landed. We also didn't know what a replica car was going to do when it hit. We didn't know if it was going to split. We had to use a metal body on it so that it would bend rather than shatter like fiberglass. You can see there in that window how advanced autumn was. And those leaves are fully turned in color, and at the top the leaves are gone, which was shot a little bit later. We didn't need to paint the ravine. This is all painted.
Cameron, it's my fault. I'll take the heat for it. We'll wait for your father to come home, and when he gets here, I'll tell him that I did it. He hates me anyway.
Now, this is the first time we see Ferris frightened. Something's gotten beyond his control, and now he has to, since he's set up the situation, he's morally obligated to solve it. And the real change in Cameron's character comes when he rejects that and wants it himself. Because there's that moment when the car first goes out the window that he's very frightened, and it's in the scene that he's found his strength. And I think they have their friendship, and he's accomplished the day. If he didn't know exactly what the day was going to mean, he put in motion circumstances that have led to this. I mean, he knew it had something to do with Cameron. And since it was near the end of the year, and that their friendship was going to change when they graduated from high school, he had something to fix in Cameron. And didn't know the specifics, but set up a circumstance where he did deal with what he needed to deal with. It was kind of nice to have, to leave Jeanie furious with this guy, ready to punch him, and then come back and in that time has fallen in love with him.
Talk with her when we get home. Thank you so much.
When it played in the theaters, I was surprised that people got that. There was a very good laugh when they first kissed. You saw it way in the background there.
Oh, right.
She gives a nice look to Charlie Sheen here. Very nice motherly look. Great look of anger and disgust. And she's very embarrassed now because she's been playing very hard, and now her mother comes and treats her like a child.
A little hyper.
And this is really the first time that you see any innocence from her at all. The softness in her, which really sort of came from somebody just listening to her,
Oh, it's Jean, but a lot of guys call me Shauna.
That was sort of a key thing. That her problem is she's uncomfortable with herself. She's just not happy with herself. So she isn't even happy with her name. So she uses a pseudonym. And there was a nice little thing in the score. The voices in the background begin singing Shauna, Jeanie, which is I thought was kind of a nice touch.
I had a great time today.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Do you think Cameron's gonna be okay?
Oh, yeah.
I like the maturity of their relationship. They seemed like a married couple. There was no... Their romance is something deeper, It's not really teenage. It doesn't have the urgency of some early teenage romances. They're very comfortable with each other. think she enjoyed this scene. I don't know about him.
Oh, shit. I have to go. I'll call you tonight.
And now this is just a chase.
I love you.
I love you too.
He's gonna marry me.
And we shot this all over the place. This took forever because we were chasing the weather. Some of it was done in California, some of it was done in various places on the North Shore suburbs of Chicago. I had 3 sisters when I grew up, so I know a lot about mother-daughter arguments.
Jeanie, what the hell are you doing? You trying to kill us?
This is extremely and deliberately contrived that they should meet. And they, eye to eye, and now this is the final moment. She's in the car, he's on foot, you know. This is actually the backyards I used these houses in She's Having a Baby. And most of this was all 16 Candles, Uncle Buck. They were all shot pretty much in this neighborhood. The beautiful houses. I love this oblivious father. That's kind of a nice little moment. They should be facing the other way, but it was the end of the day, and we were running out of light. Like I said, it was a very contrived scene. The song, I had a terrible time. I didn't want to do a score because it was a pretty long sequence, and I didn't really have any ideas for a score, so I was looking for songs that could play. There you can see there's a palm tree, which drove me nuts. There was a palm frond that was cut off. I think it was cut off so it didn't show in the movie, and then they put it in a trash bin and set it in the shot. I found a song by the English Beat. It was a dance remix on a 12-inch. I'd been a big ska fan in the 70s and early 80s, and I found this song. It was the right length, had the right feel, and we just licensed it and used it here. It drove, I need something that's going to drive this scene, because it wasn't, it was chase, but it wasn't a high-speed chase, and there weren't really any stunts in it. So I need something that had a little drive to it. This was a really contrived moment. I mean, he just actually looks at his father looks at him. So it was sort of important up to this point that he played sort of that oblivious suburban dad. It was a nice scene. He actually ran through this house. A lot of this we just made up as we were going along. I knew that I needed some sort of chase. I think in the script I probably just said he runs home. So we added all these little bits as we went along. This is in Long Beach. I did this overcrank shot so that I could get I could really time things precisely. So if I had him hanging in the air, it bought me a little bit of time. So a cheap trick.
I just picked up Jeanie at the police station. She got a speeding ticket, another speeding ticket, and I lost the Vermont deal because of her.
I think we should shoot her.
Looking for this?
I kind of like that he's gone so mad that he's hiding in their bushes waiting for him to get home.
How's Ferris? Let's go in and check.
Okay.
Okay?
How was your day?
I have reamed about this. This time, God damn you little bastard. I've got you right where I want you.
Ferris, we're home.
So, how would you feel about another year of high school? Under my close personal supervision.
Hi. Thank God you're all right. You know, we've been worried sick about you.
And his sister comes to rescue him, which was sort of the, it's the idea that you can say what you want about your brother, but no one else can. So when it comes down to it, she's not going to let Rooney walk off with her brother. And she's learned a few things from Garth Volbeck. That was a very nice little camera take there. This is a great little moment here. There's that little cough.
Can you imagine someone as sick as Ferris trying to walk home from the hospital? Oh, kids.
I think Jeannie's learned a little something about. She'd be quite good. She probably will not go to school after this several times. She certainly got the genes. And he's back to the dog again. Then the idea here was to do this very heavy score, as if it were, the end of some war movie, and the bridge is about to break up or blow up, and they have to rescue themselves. And the train is coming, and all he's really doing is getting in bed. And what happens if he gets caught? Nothing. So we thought it was kind of funny to just play it so hard. And then all these little pieces and parts had to match up. So he's going to turn the music off, which he forgot, and the baseball that he catches, the foul ball. But it was all done very arch. And I get that nice picture of Brian Ferry behind him.
Honey. He's still
And it worked very nicely for him that from running and sweating, he appears to have a fever at the end of the day, so which means he's probably not going to school tomorrow either.
Please, don't make me stay home again. I want to go to school.
Now he's slipping back into being the little boy.
And
There's a nice little thing he does here with the blankie.
Making yourself worse.
Maybe you're right, Dad.
I know I'm right, pal.
How'd you get to be so sweet?
Years of practice. Blanket.
I mean, he's 6 there, and that's just what they want. This little thing, he bites his finger here.
Get well.
Matthew's very, very good. I think this might have been the last, or very close to
I'm
it.
going to get myself settled, and I'll bring you a hot cup of soup, okay? Ooh.
Yep. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once.
When this played in the theaters, this was really, this is the point where people, there's a beautiful smile. Just as the fade began, people started to stand up. And then this came on, and they thought it was just a title sequence. So some would continue out, some would stand, and then realize it's not over yet. This sequence actually had come in a little earlier, and I thought it would be interesting to really not end the picture where you thought it would, but to extend it as much as I could. And what could possibly be, there's nothing worse for a school administrator than to have to ride the bus with the kids, have to suffer the sort of humiliations that they have to suffer themselves. And what could be stranger for a kid on the late bus than to look up and see the dean of students, regardless of the condition he's in here, get on your bus. I mean, it was sort of a wonderful moment of. They had this thing between them. both were startled that this was happening, that the teacher was on the bus and the kids were, and he was humiliated to have to ride with them. I never rode a bus in high school. I was too terrified. I went 4 years without ever getting in a bus, even field trips. And these were all real kids. And we shot the interiors, and it started to rain. So we finished 2 months later in Burbank. And this other girl, we had these glasses made for her that they were so thick and they distorted her vision so badly. I think she got sick, or she was at least nauseous the whole time. And they weighed a lot, so she had to hold her head in a certain way so they didn't slide down. And I told her that she had a cold because I wanted her to offer him her gummy bears, having just rubbed her nose and. She's struggling to keep those glasses from sliding down her nose. There they go.
Gummy bear? They've been in my pocket. They're real.
I don't think he even knows what a gummy bear is. He hates. You really see here. He hates kids. He just hates them. And now he's right in the belly of the thing. He's right inside of it. It was sort of a nice touch that the bus wasn't in very good shape, so it kind of shook as it pulled away. And now people were. They were the ones that were standing were heading to the door, and they stopped again and had to turn back. And also people were coming in from the lobby when they heard that the movie wasn't over. The studio also had no idea what this piece of footage was when they went to dailies. They checked the script. They didn't know what was going on. And I thought it was important that Ferris get everybody at the end of the movie.